Welcome to A Better HR Business, the podcast that looks at how HR consultants and HR tech firms grow their businesses and how they help their employers to get the best out of their people. Remember, for show notes and downloads, go to www.getmorehrclients.com/podcast. That's getmorehrclients.com/podcast. Okay, let's get started.
Hi there, thanks for joining me again on the show. Great to have you along. And I'm really looking forward to today's conversation with John Barron. John's a fascinating guy. He is the CEO and co-founder of a very cool company called GoChallenge, and they're at GoChallenge.com. And GoChallenge is a performance-focused employee engagement platform that helps organizations build connection, improve well-being, and drive better performance across their teams. And they do this through simple, fun, gamified movement challenges that bring employees together, whether they're in the office or working remotely and so on. Fascinating area and such a hugely important thing. But before we get into it, John, thanks very much for joining me today.
My pleasure, Ben. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
On this show, we have people all over the world, but we are in the same country. So that's fabulous. Whereabouts are you based?
We're based in the southeast of Ireland, or as we like to refer to it, the Riviera of Ireland, Ben. We were getting sunshine this week in Ireland, so I think this week is going to be our summer. So we're making the most of it.
For a few years in a row, my family, we used to meet a bunch of other families in Cork, which, if listeners know anything about Cork, it's not necessarily the sunniest of places, but we met there every June, bank holiday or whatever, public holiday, and it just happened to be sunny 3 years in a row. And so when we said to our kids, where should we go on holidays this year? Spain, Portugal? They said, no, let's go to Cork. It's always sunny in Cork. So firstly, I guess I really want to know is tell us about GoChallenge and also the background to you co-founding it. I'd love to know what drove it.
A lot of good ideas in my life, Ben. It came from my wife. My wife is a doctor, a GP, and post-COVID, she saw an explosion in people going into her practice that were burnt out, tired, lethargic, and they were looking for medication to address it. And Katrina would be a huge proponent in the benefits of exercise and movement. So she'd write on a prescription pad, go for a 30-minute walk every day for the next month and come back and see me, and let's see how you feel then. And what shocked her was the amount of people that said, I don't have time. Don't have time, Katrina. Can't fit in a walk during the day. So Katrina said to me, this is GoChallenge, is my second startup. She said to me, is there some way we could come up with some type of app or service that would encourage people to incorporate movement into their busy day? And not only that, she looked into why people struggle to exercise, Ben, and there was some research done in the University of Melbourne, and she reached out to the professor there, and she explained to Katrina that vast majority of people struggle to exercise. And when you ask them why they struggle, time is the thing they say. But when the researcher in Melbourne looked into it, it wasn't time. What it was it's three factors. It's a lack of motivation, a lack of support, and a lack of external accountability. So what we've done is that we factored all those three things into our app. The best example I can give of that, Ben, is that on a Tuesday night here in Ireland, I might like to go for a jog. I come home from work and I'm tired and I might give it a miss. However, I often go running with my brother, Brian, and you can set your clock by Brian. And if it's raining or dark outside, he's going to be there. So Brian gives me that accountability. I'm going to show up and I'm going to go for a run. And that's what we've incorporated into GoChallenge. It's very much a team-focused challenge that we do with companies. And I think it's just resonating at the moment. I think the timing is right for it. We see it in the zeitgeist. There's an appetite for healthy social experiences. And that's essentially what we're bringing to the workplace.
That's interesting. And so your wife, Katrina, she was describing some of the negative stuff that she was seeing as a GP, so people coming in with issues and so on. But I noticed you guys have a white paper called Winning at Workplace Wellbeing and Productivity. And there was an interesting line in there. It said, there's a huge change taking place in the workplace. For the first time ever, people are putting their physical and mental well-being above all else, which is taking the more positive approach, isn't it? So we've had the negative of a GP environment where things need to be cured or healed or whatever. Whereas, this people trying to take control of their lives and their well-being. So can you tell us a bit more about that side?
Yeah, we're seeing that, especially with businesses that we're working with, they're smart. They can see that there's this very simple equation that if your staff are healthy and connected with their colleagues, they perform better. It's as simple as that. That's what we're trying to deliver to various workplaces. Obviously, there's other factors, but that's what we see is that connection plays, like very simply what we say is we help people move more, connect more, And as a result of that, they feel and perform better. What we've seen since we've launched is this connection piece is very important. There's some research done by Gallup that says that if you've got a good friend in work, you're 7 times more engaged with your job. I think the world we're living in now, as we all know, we're digitally more connected than ever before. But unfortunately, on a human level, we've never been more disconnected. We're seeing that when we go into companies. So what we're trying to do is through movement is to try facilitate more connection. So it's funny, we just went for lunch. We're working in the office today. So we went for a walk to a local cafe. But there's a company here in Waterford doing a GoChallenge at the moment. And we saw about 20 of their guys out for a walk at lunchtime, enjoying the fine weather. And that's what we're trying to bring, just that level of healthy connection in the workplace.
Yeah. I know the Gallup, the Q12 that you're mentioning and having the best friend at work and all that sort of thing, but equally having a group of 20 people walking through, having the crack, as it's said here, is you're engaging. And just from an HR perspective, it's always great to have the marketing person speaking to sales or the HR person speaking to the finance team or whatever, as they're just walking along the riverside. And
I have a lovely story about that, if you don't mind me sharing it. We worked with this company. It has offices in Dublin and Scandinavia. The marketing director told me this story. Their IT director is based in Oslo, and they were often at loggerheads. So the marketing director was saying, like, I'd want a promotion for Christmas, and I'd approach the guy maybe late November, the IT guy, and he'd say, I'll have it for you in 6 months' time because we have a roadmap. And the marketing guy, no, I need it in 2 weeks' time, So he said, we were always at loggerheads. And he said, as luck would have it, they were put on the same team for the GoChallenge. And he said the first night of the challenge, the guy in Oslo took a picture of himself, his daughter, and his dog out for a walk and posted it into the team group. We call our teams after animals. So I think they were like on the Sharks team or something. He had Go Sharks. And the next night, the guy in Dublin said, I went out for a walk with my 2 daughters and our dog. They were out near John Leary, and they said, look, step in here for a picture. And he posted up Go Sharks. They had a call on that Friday. And he said he went on the call and he said, oh, this guy, and the call started. And the guy said to him, I didn't realize you had children. And the guy in Dublin went, yeah, I have 2 daughters. And he said, I didn't realize you had a daughter. And he goes, yeah, I have a daughter and 2 sons. And he said, they were too lazy. They wouldn't come out with us. Then we started talking. And he said, John, it was amazing. It just turned from this kind of 2-dimensional guy that I'd see on a Zoom call every week to a 3-dimensional person who's got family stuff going on. He said it just completely changed the dynamic of our relationship. So it's very rewarding. We have a load of stories like that. So yeah, powerful stuff in a very simple way.
How does it work for an employer? Let's say an employer is listening to this and thinks, yeah, this sounds interesting. Yeah, how does it work for them?
We have an annual plan. We now know the cadence of the challenges. We do 1 challenge per quarter. And what we do at the end of it is that if an employee completes all challenges, that they get some reward. So one company we're working with at the moment gives an extra day's annual leave the following year. Another company actually gives a financial bonus. They pay €250 for each challenge that you complete. So at the end of the year, you can pick up a check for €1,000, which is great. But normally what we do is we start with 1 challenge. And we normally propose a challenge called Leave No One Behind. It's very simple. So what we do, and I think we do well, Ben, is we run the challenge from start to finish. So the onboarding, running the challenge, we have a success coach, guy called Gary Robinson, that will run the challenge. We post videos, encourage people to get moving. We run a photo competition, some little prizes during the course of the challenge. And then we finish it. We normally have like a medal ceremony, and we have prizes for like the hot stepper, MVP, the winning team, all those kind of different things. So normally what we say to HR people is just do 1 challenge with us. Just see how it goes. And then after that, normally what we find is, well, we'd like to do that again. I would say that what we've learned, Ben, is our challenges are designed to be inclusive. When we launch first, we'd rock up to a company and go, okay, everyone has to walk 300 miles. So now what we do is we allow people to set their own distance. We ask them, though, to go challenge themselves to do in excess of 5,000 steps a day. Anything below that is medically classed as sedentary and is unhealthy. So push yourself to do in excess of 5,000 steps a day. Most people do achieve that. Then the nice thing then is you're put into a team, and everyone on the team has to complete their challenge for the team to win. But again, in terms of the inclusive nature of it, only you, the user, know what you selected. The rest of the team can only see how you're progressing. There's kind of a progress bar in your challenge. So you could have like Tom, who's doing a couch to 5K, or Mary, who's running a marathon, but everyone is on an equal footing. And I got to say, that's really helped in terms of our sales, but also in terms of the participation rates in the challenge as well.
I like that, because in other environments where you have clear winners or people out in front, whether that's employee engagement or something else, employee feedback, kudos, things like that, everyone else can sometimes just stop, give up.
Yes.
Because they know it's only going to go to those people. Whereas if it's a level playing field, there's far more engagement. And in terms of geography, longer term, so I guess you're focused on Ireland for now.
Yeah, we've done challenges now from New York to Shanghai, which has been great, is that we've had companies reach out to us, companies we weren't aware of that have seen some of our stuff on LinkedIn. Gartner is an example of that. Gartner approached us. They did a challenge across all their European offices. The whole idea was to get their people moving more and more connected, not only with their colleagues, but also with Gartner's culture. And I think that's something that we do quite well. So what we try to do, Ben, in the challenges is live companies' values through our challenges. So for instance, we're doing a challenge at the moment with Three, the mobile phone company, and Be One Team is one of their values. So we're doing it across the whole island of Ireland. So whether it be their retail, whether it be their customer care down in Limerick or their head office, everyone's involved. So it's very much kind of living that value of being one team.
In terms of the business development side of things, what have you been doing to get the word out there?
Two things that have worked well for us. It's old school and new school, if you like. So from an old school perspective, we do a lot of conferences. So CIPD, business wellness, those kind of conferences we fit in there, or anything to do with preventative healthcare. They're the kind of conferences that we attend. We find that we get a lot of lead gen at those events. And the other one is LinkedIn. We're very fortunate that a lot of the companies that we work with are very happy with the output of the challenges and they want to tell people about it. So we've done some really cool videos, which we post on LinkedIn. And we did a great challenge recently with Grant Thornton in association with Make-A-Wish. So Make-A-Wish in Ireland, at least, they're using GoChallenge. They've got a challenge called Walk for Wishes, which is a lovely challenge. So we're powering that. People get rewarded. Grant Thornton would make a financial contribution to the challenge for people that complete the challenge. It's very good. So what we found is we published that and we got more companies coming to us who have a charity partner that would like to do something in terms of fundraising that would involve everyone in terms of lead generation. That's how we do it. Longer term, how we're going to scale the business, like we launched the business in 2023. Up to now, we've been selling directly, and that's been great in terms of validating our brand and our tech, as you can imagine. But longer term, like we do want to benefit or to partner with companies that offer benefits, health insurance companies, anyone in that kind of HR sphere that would like to add a well-being dimension to their existing offering. We'd be very open to that. And we're talking to a number of organizations in those spaces at the moment.
Yeah, a very smart way to do it is to team up. Certainly with the tech ones where it's automatically embedded. So when someone buys one product, they get yours or the option to turn it on, switch it on. And then with the conferences, I've heard a lot of people have hit and miss. Do you just turn up as an attendee and walk around? Do you take a stand?
Yeah, we take a stand and we normally try to contact people in advance, try to set up a number of meetings before we go. We normally try to have about 5 meetings at least in the calendar before we go to these events. And then it's amazing how many people you meet at them. We have a little game that we have at the stand where it's like a slot machine and say Sydney comes up and you have to guess how far away Sydney is from wherever the conference is on. So we've done vibe coding to do this thing, and that's always a bit of crack. And whoever gets the top prize, we normally give an Apple Watch or something like that for the winner. So again, it's very old school, Ben, just trying to get people to the stand. Yourself, for every 10 people you speak to, maybe 1 or 2 would lead to something.
You've done the traditional outbound, I guess, in the early stages, contacting people. Do you still do that? And also, if you did it, as in email or messaging people, how do you do it? Do you just contact them and go cold, hey, we've got this new thing, can I tell you about it? Or can I have a meeting? What do you do? What's your message?
So normally what we do is we focus on the company's values. And then we send the email, the body of the email is, look, we can help you live these values. We know who our target customer are sort of working in the smart economy. They're businesses that most of them have adopted hybrid working. So they are experiencing this issue with connection. They understand it when we bring that up. So we bring up that we can connect your people no matter where they work. And one of the things that's proven really popular with GoChallenge is we have captains on the teams. Normally we suggest someone maybe younger in the organization, Ben, that's shown a bit of potential, leave them at it, kind of running the team. But we recommend things to the captain to help with the engagement. But one of the things is the day you're in the office, tell your team you're in the office and say, look, I'm in the office Friday. Anyone fancy going for a walk at lunchtime? You would not believe how popular that's proven, Ben. People are craving that human connection and that bit of fun and that bit of chat and just connecting. I think that's what's shocked us since we've launched the business is there's a lot of people who are struggling with that at the moment. A lot of people are on screens all the time. And as I said at the start, you can see it in the zeitgeist, whether it's things like park run, high rocks, swimming in the sea in Ireland now is very popular, as you know. I think it's all around connection. It's all around meeting people in a healthy environment. One of our investors is an Australian gent. And one of the main reasons he invested in GoChallenge was he said, look, he exited a business a number of years ago. He was saying when I had my business, he had, I think, close to 700 people working for him. And he said, like, the Australian culture is very similar to the Irish, maybe UK culture, in that a lot of our socializing at work revolves around alcohol. He was saying not only is it unhealthy, but it's also dangerous. He said, I don't think we ever had a get-together that didn't end badly with something happening that shouldn't have happened. And he said, with GoChallenge, what we're trying to do is that social connection in a healthy way. There's definitely a demand for it. I think people want that at the moment, Ben. And that goes across age groups. People are sick of this. They want to meet people in the real world, you know?
So finally then, you've been busy growing this business, GoChallenge, and so you must have picked up a few lessons, made a few mistakes along the way. What sort of advice would you have for other founders, CEOs, leaders growing businesses in the, let's call it the broad HR sector? What advice would you have for them trying to expand and grow and sell into the employer market?
I think you've got to know your buyer. As I said, this is my second startup. My previous startup, it was a tech solution, and I was selling predominantly to men. This time around, I'm selling predominantly to women. In the HR space, the directors, the leaders in that space are predominantly women. And I find a number of things. One is that they're incredibly busy, not only in their work life, but also in their home life. So our messaging reflects that, because they don't want another job, right? So we come in, we do everything end to end, and we do it in a competent, professional manner that reflects well on them and their team. They're in safe hands, but they don't have to do any extra work, so it's very light touch. The other thing is something that you mentioned, that we also know that they've already got platforms in situ in their organization, and they don't want another platform. What they want is something that integrates with their existing platform. So whether it's WorkVivo, WorkHuman, Personio, whatever they've got in there, you know, it's music to their ears when we can say, oh, look, we actually integrate with that already. So there's a number of things there. Know your buyer, know their pain points and what motivates them. It often isn't price, Ben. That's the fact. And often they're willing to pay a premium for getting a better service. As I said, reflects well on them. Final bit is that integration bit. No one wants an extra platform, but they want something that integrates with their existing stack.
That's great advice. And to that thing about they don't want another job. The number of times I've heard people talk about, oh, we'll give them a free this or a free audit, or it'll be, you know, a great rollout and all this. You are giving them more work to do, even if it's free, because they need to block out time. They need to educate their line management or convince the CEO and the board. The smart companies, if some of that is involved or is required, then let's make that slide deck for them. Let's write out the script. The supervisors, just the works, give it all to them on a platter so it's super easy, because they don't need that hassle. So it sounds like you've really thought about that and made it life easier for them.
Yeah. Lastly, I'll just say, once the challenge gets up and running, it's not the HR team, it's often the internal comms team. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? So the internal comms team are critical as well if your company is big enough to have that. And, you know, in terms of, okay, week one, this is what we're going to push out. So people are engaged all the way along through the challenge. But the great thing is that we now have templates, you know, so it's like a playbook, and they go, great, that's great. So again, it's just trying to keep it as easy as possible for the guys involved in the companies we're working with.
Yeah. And with the internal comms, they've got their own calendar. They've got their own promotional stuff going on. So for you to overlay stuff, showing that it's all neatly calendarized or scheduled, I think it's an excellent idea. John, where can people learn more about you and GoChallenge?
So our website's GoChallenge.com, and I'm John at GoChallenge.com. If anyone wanted to contact me directly, be happy to have a chat.
That's fabulous. Congratulations for so far, but all the best for the future with it.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ben, and thanks for your time. Very much appreciated.
Thanks for joining us today on A Better HR Business, the podcast that explores the world of HR consulting and HR tech businesses. For show notes and downloads, go to www.getmorehrclients.com/podcast. That's getmorehrclients.com/podcast. Remember to subscribe and share the show with any friends who are busy growing a HR business. Thanks, and see you next time.